The first thing you need to do on the day of making pizza is to take your dough out of the fridge and divide it into pieces with enough time so that it will come to room temperature and double in size. I cook my pizza in a 12-inch cast iron pan, so I divided the dough into 3. If your pizza doesn't come to room temperature, it will be much harder to work with and nearly impossible to get thin. I take out my dough in the early afternoon in order to make dinner around 6. When it's time to really get started and the dough has properly risen, get your toppings together. If you bought a block of mozzarella cheese, grate it before you start with the dough. For tomato sauce, I get a can of tomato sauce at the store and I add oregano, red pepper flakes, garlic powder, and salt to taste. You can also use leftover marinara, or you can just buy canned, already made pizza sauce. Move one of the racks in your oven to the top third, the highest it can go so that it's closest to the heat, and then preheat your oven to 475. Get your cast iron and put it on the stove top. Turn the heat on to medium. Now, let's talk about the hardest part, shaping. Tear off a piece of parchment paper big enough for the pizza you're planning to make. I shape my dough on a floured piece of parchment paper so that it's easy to pick up and move to the cast iron. No matter what you use, be sure to put on a dusting of flour so that it's easy to get the dough off of it. Grab one of the pieces of dough and place it on top of the floured surface. Dust a little more flour on the top of the dough. Starting from the middle of the dough, stretch with your thumb and forefinger, pulling away from the center, going all along the perimeter. When the dough is at your desired size and the cast iron is heated, add a tablespoon of olive oil to the pan and swirl it around the pan so that it's evenly covered. Carefully flip the parchment paper dough side down into the cast iron and nudge the dough into the pan. Remember, the pan is hot. I use a soup spoon to get some of the sauce out of the jar. Carefully ladle it onto the pizza and then use the back of the spoon to spread it around, leaving about an inch without sauce around the edge of the dough for a crust. The same holds true for mozzarella, which will spread in the oven, so there's no need to cover every inch of sauce you see. Once your toppings are secure, use a kitchen utensil to pick up the bottom of the dough and check it. If it is golden brown, the pizza is ready to move to the oven. Turn off the stove top, put on the oven mitts, and transfer the cast iron with the pizza in it into the oven. I put it in a back corner because that has a more concentrated heat, which makes for a better pizza. Set a timer for 12 minutes. After 12 minutes, open the oven and grab a mitt to pull out the pizza and see if the cheese is bubbling and hot and the crust has taken on more golden brown color. If so, it's ready to cool. If not, set a timer for 2 minutes and check on it again. When it's ready, make sure you have your oven mitts on and move it to the stove top to cool for a few minutes. I use a utensil to move the pizza to a wire rack for it to cool a little longer. Once the pizza has been out of the oven for about 8 minutes, you can move it to a cutting board, slice it, and eat it.